Forgot about that. All right, really small writing, but I'll try to figure this out. I'm going to start this tribute off with talking about Mom's love affair with food. If you knew Elsa in any capacity, you'd know that she loved through food, cooking for birthdays, parties, and holidays. She'd bake more than 20 labor-intensive German nut rolls every Christmas to hand out to hairdressers, massage therapists, doctors, and anyone who ever cared for her. She'd weekly host different combinations of groups of friends for lunch on her deck. She'd make someone's favorite food just because, greet a neighbor with a cake, or bring a meal to someone down on their luck. She quite literally would dream about food. Going to the grocery store was a highlight of her week. She was absolutely appalled at my suggestion of having groceries delivered during COVID. Looked at me like I just shot her dog.
And lucky you didn't.
Jam. If you were ever fortunate enough to receive Elsa's homemade jam, know that that was Mom's ultimate love currency. Congratulations, you made it to the inner circle. John and I, for decades, would joke about who Mom loved the most based upon who received the most jam. Spoiler alert, it was John. He would say Mom missed her calling as a food critic because half of her emails to us were vivid, graphically depicted, lustful descriptions of a meal she just had, like pages long. You wouldn't think it possible that a description of potato salad could take up an entire paragraph, but Mom found a way. Another fun Elsa food fact. Mom's favorite guilty pleasure food was potato chips, which she wasn't allowed to eat when she became a diabetic.
Right.
Mom didn't fess up until those last few weeks in the hospital that she would hide bags of potato chips in the trunk of her car. And she said there wasn't a single night where she didn't end up defeated, traipsing off, barefoot of course, to the garage. This past spring, I thought for sure Mom was going to come back to life and murder me when I threw out all the food in her freezer.
Oh.
Mostly because that's exactly what she said she would do to me. I literally put on show tunes and was singing at the top of my lungs in the basement to ward her off. Unfortunately, we just discovered that I forgot to take one bag out filled with meat and left it at the bottom of the basement stairs. It's been there for 3 months. Just a little welcome home present for John. Moving on from food, being a diabetic, Mom was never supposed to walk barefoot.
Right.
Was reprimanded constantly by her children and her doctors. A cut can easily turn infected and lethal. She would smile and nod in agreement with us, having zero intention of eating our lunch. So she never wore shoes right to the end. Her wonderful neighbors, Janet and Mike, informed me after Mom passed that she did all of her gardening in her bare feet and would walk to their house through these woods without shoes day and night. The night before Mom came down on her last trip to Philly in late October, she walked the path to their house barefoot to say goodbye for the last time. Barefoot in October in New York. We just couldn't tame that farm girl. The smallest things in life would give Mom such pleasure. We both shared a love of thrifting. Nothing made her happier than shrimp going on sale or finding a pair of shoes or a purse for $1. She was so easy to please and so full of gratitude if someone did even the smallest thing for her. Some of you suspected Mom knew she was sick and didn't want people to know, didn't want to worry us. That sounded like Mom, but she was in absolute shock when she got the aggressive leukemia diagnosis. She thought she was just starting to feel her age. Mom kept saying, I really thought I'd get the chance to show off and hit a golf ball at 100. Never dawned on her that she would die earlier than that. Too much shit to do. Since I've been thinking about death since I was about 5 years old, I was fascinated by the fact that she wouldn't question that she would live that long, and she never worried about it passing. She was just always on that next adventure. Mom would tell us there was still so much in life that she wanted to experience. She would have to just live forever, if only. Mom was fiercely independent and willful, stubborn, freaking German. The night Mom missed my bottom step and snapped her femur, which began her rapid decline, we were in the hallway of the ER when she got the news that she would need emergency surgery. We had tickets to see Hamilton the next night. Her immediate response was, "We'll figure it out. I guess we'll have to get a wheelchair for the show tomorrow." She was so used to getting her way by sheer will. We told Mom that God knew he had to break her right leg because if she broke her left, she would have stolen my car and driven back to New York. If you knew my mom even a little bit, you knew she had an epic, awe-inspiring love affair with my dad, which began when she was 16. John and I had a ringside seat to a rare, idealized version of what love and respect could look like. She missed Dad terribly after he passed, but was so comfortable in her own skin that she was happy and truly content to be alone independently. She never felt lonely or bored. Having never been a TV person, she thrived during the pandemic, where she developed the love of Netflix binging. It took her till 89 to finally sit on her ass and do nothing for at least part of the day. Elsa would conveniently neglect to tell John and I most things she thought we would discourage. Eventually, in dribs and drabs, we'd find out some of her secret adventures through friends and family. Mom drove to Syracuse for the highlight of her year to her niece Linda's anniversary family reunion event. This is where she learned how to fly a drone and experienced the joy of a heated toilet seat for the first time. After she passed, we discovered that post-reunion she decided to beeline it to Canada afterwards to see friends. We had no idea. Mom would often tell me some of her escapades, but swore me to secrecy to not tell John, since he was a little more protective and tougher on her than me. She would giggle that it was our little secret. Can't mention Mom without acknowledging her obsession with photos. Mom took thousands of pictures, always with a camera in her hand, wanting to capture and cherish every memory. More often than not, someone's head would be chopped off. You'd think with all that practice, her photography skills would have improved, but they did not. Even though last year she was tired all the time, not knowing she had leukemia, she took the time to go through and divide thousands of photos and mail them off to friends and family. She hated the task, but thought people would love to have them. I've received dozens of cards telling me how priceless it was to receive a package in the mail from Mom with pictures of relatives who have passed. As most of you know, Mom was a letter writer, perfect penmanship. John and I unfortunately inherited Dad's illegible handwriting. Really miss those letters. I got to tell you though, she dreaded Christmas time and said one good thing that came out of dying was not having to do those Christmas cards. She had several hundred letters that she would individually handwrite. She wanted you all to feel special and loved because you were, if you were in Mom's life. We never saw her angry. Probably the worst she got was when the squirrels were eating the birdseed, a blue jay coming near a cardinal nest, or a rainy forecast that could mess up her tea time or time with friends on the deck.
Okay.
She'd start tracking the weather a month in advance and ride out the highs and the lows of the inevitable forecast, reminding her that she had no control over the outcome was never a deterrent to her painful ritual. Mom was a lifetime learner. She took every opportunity to learn about a person or discover a new skill. When I was pregnant, Mom decided to go to clown school because she thought that would be fun for the kids. Scared the crap out of her. That was an epic fail. She then in her 70s took it on the road and belonged to a clown troupe for over a decade in Florida. Her alias was Bubbles. In addition to playing the organ all of her adult life, Mom also decided to pick up the ukulele in her late 80s, complete with a recital showcasing her new skill. She continued to knit and sew, play golf, garden, and weekly host group lunch dates until the end, always on the move. Mom wouldn't go to bed until well past 1 a.m. most nights. We would always get on her case that she needed her sleep. She would wholeheartedly agree. Then that very next morning, we'd inevitably wake up to a joke email she sent at 2 a.m. I'm sure we all got the same ones. The ones that corrupted my computer on numerous occasions. My storage space would rapidly reach full capacity with them all until I was forced to purge. I had to eventually cap Mom off at 2 per day, but she always found 1 or 2 extras that I just had to see. I'm so grateful I saved several thousand of them, which when I'm having a missing Mom day, which happens quite often, I would reread one of her jokes or play one of her funny animal videos that she loved enough to send along. And I would envision her joyful giggles when she first discovered them. Both John and I asked her to move in with us or even just come for extended stays, she would always say the same thing: "It's such a nice feeling to be wanted." Then she would proceed to blow us off every single time, having absolutely no intention of going anywhere. She wanted to be home, this home that my dad and she built together 70 years ago from the ground up. She got her wish. Mom loved with every fiber of her being this neighborhood and her neighbors, whom she considered family. As you probably all know, my mom lived on this land her entire life. This is a little repetitive. She would say she was once the baby in the neighborhood, now she's the old lady on the block. She truly loved her home and the wonderful neighbors that surrounded her. Being that John and I lived out of state, you and others made it possible for Mom to live her entirety of her life on the street. John and I will be forever grateful to all of you for stepping up and helping this feisty force of nature hold on to her independence. You gave an immeasurable gift of freedom to Mom and peace of mind to John and I. We will forever be eternally grateful to all of you. And then it's just repeating. Not sure where John and I came from because both my parents were completely humble. Mom would never brag, and when I talked about her hole-in-one at Pinehurst and Narky and her having national doubles championship, she was ahead of her time. I'm so grateful to have had such a badass role model for Mom. She loved to play golf and did so right to the end. We had a blast for decades, traveling the world, playing golf together. Mom was still a member of the golf leagues last summer. She lost distance in recent years, but hit him straight down the middle and remained an ice in her veins fearless putter till the very end. I assure you that John did not inherit Mom's putting skills. Elsa was always up for an adventure. Probably 10 years ago, after playing golf, I looked through the paper and saw that Rent was showing at Proctor's in 20 minutes. John and I were and are obsessed with the musical. I just looked at Mom and she was all in. We left 5 minutes later, totally gross in our golf clothes, and made it just before curtain call. In retrospect, I probably should have warned her what it was about. It was pretty risque for a woman in her 80s, but never wanting to say a bad thing about anyone or anything, she just looked over at me when it was over and said, "Oh my, well that was different." So even days before she passed, her running joke as describing something she liked would be, "Well, it was no Rent, but..." So in January, after Mom died, John and I came back to the house together for the first time as orphans. I had to miss a show in Philly scheduled for that weekend. When I called to exchange them, there wasn't a single ticket available for any show for the rest of the year. So I was put on a waiting list. Before I hung up, they found 2 tickets. It was for Rent, and it happened to be on Mom's birthday. Felt pretty perfect.
Omen.
Mom was the best person I've ever known, hands down. She was the least needy mother you'd ever meet, like to the point of hurting our feelings. John and I were well aware that she had the capacity to talk on the phone to many of you, but to get her to stay on the phone for more than 5 minutes with her own children was an impossibility. We had much better luck sending her an email. Pretty soon we'd hear some rumblings and she'd say, "Well, I'll let you go." When we called her on it, she just giggled. Always had somewhere to be. I missed her giggle. Her whole body would shake. No one could get her laughing more than John. She would belly laugh till there were tears coming down her face and occasionally pee in her pants. Mom was so full of life, living life to the absolute fullest with her dogs, family, and friends. We loved the time we all shared together, the 4 of us. And then after Dad passed, the 3 of us. We didn't have a big family, but we had a close one. And we cherished blocking out the rest of the world and just being together. I will forever miss the glee Mom would express when finding a pink flying lady golf ball in the woods. Or minutes later, the inevitable devastation in her voice when she'd hit that same flying lady into the pond on hole 4. I miss having sleepovers when Mom came to visit, both our dogs laying on top of us and talking to the wee hours. I do not miss, however, when she would sleepwalk, particularly one night when I woke to her standing over me with an iron. Corey was so freaked out by it that she locked her bedroom door for the next couple of years. I miss how Mom would light up when she'd talk about driving her beloved car. The one that we Thelma and Louise road trip to 3 states in one day to find. That same road trip where Mom blew any chance for negotiating price when she announced in front of the salesman, "I don't care how much it costs, I want this car." I miss the chocolate she'd leave on my pillow like it was a 5-star hotel. I'll miss the wounded moose sound she'd make when she hit a bad golf shot. I'll even miss when she would spoil the ending to a golf match or football game, knowing I've been taping sporting events to watch them later for more than 20 years. I will miss the crisp dollar bills she'd send in a card. I will miss her reminding me whose birthday or anniversary was coming up. She promised she would never die, so she could still be my personal secretary. I will miss how she would dismiss as irrelevant the fact that her condiments were after 2 years expired. I will miss the sound of her sewing machine late at night when she had a new project. I miss the smell of the house when we walk in the door filled with 100 different mouth-watering smells. Or knowing that our favorite meal would be waiting for us no matter what time of night it was when we came back to visit. I'll miss the 3 of us lying in bed with popcorn watching movies. Nearly every time without fail though, I'd innocently pick a movie that would feature an unexpected, uncomfortable sex scene in it. It would embarrass John way more than he ever did.
There's the line again.
I miss Mom's banana splits.
She's letting you know she didn't like that new scene.
I miss early Sunday morning calls, which was the only reliable time to catch Mom on the phone. We'd catch up on how the week went, cook, and share a new recipe. I miss Mom's boundless energy and work ethic. I miss my favorite cheerleader. I miss seeing 5 different lipsticks at the bottom of Mom's purse without a single cap on any of them. I miss the 1,000 sticky notes around the house written in shorthand that no one in the last 60 years could. I miss her offering cheese and crackers when she was trying to dodge answering the question. I miss watching her eyes light up in an all-you-can-eat buffet. I miss Mom pronouncing Italy as Italy. I miss seeing her well up listening to Nat King Cole, reminiscing about my dad. I miss her scent of Ginate, Aquanet, and Palm Space Cream. I miss being sad or excited and wanting to immediately share it with a woman who grew to be my best friend. Mom taught me to treat people well, to love nature, to love and protect animals as if they were your children, to cook and garden. She gave me the tools to be a good psychologist long before I ever went to school. Be of service to those in need. Treat people with respect and love. Look for opportunities to brighten someone's day. Discover what's important to people. Do daily random acts of kindness. Give away your heart and you'll get it back tenfold. Love without reservation, completely and fearlessly. None of you don't know what her final days were like. As agonizing and painful as it was to watch her hurting and declining so rapidly, we still had some laughs and were able to joke around until the last few days. We received the priceless gift of immersing ourselves completely in the last profound moments of Mom's life. The rehab, can I have some water? The rehab facility let us stay overnight. Every night I was able to crawl into bed with Mom, rub her back for hours, and watch movies in Virgin River together. I'd come back in my PJs and bring popcorn. I broke keto and I gained 10 pounds that month. Mom was in pain, but gratefully only for a month. At the very end, her room was tranquil. It smelled like lilacs and was lit up in blues and purples, thanks to Amy's diffuser. That's right. We played Mom's favorite big band music around the clock for days. When the time grew near and Mom no longer could communicate, I put many of you on speaker to say your goodbyes, which she absolutely heard and responded to. Ripped my heart out every time, but was so grateful to hear the impact Mom had on so many people. She touched hundreds of lives. The theme was always the same: blessed to have shared life with her, was inspired by her, how she changed their lives. Always there for them in times of need. Never met anyone like her. Did so many thoughtful things for them. Kindest friend they'd ever had. The most giving, loving, and fierce of spirit. She was truly exceptional. When she finally passed, we were able to lay with her until they came for her body. They covered Mom with a blanket stitched with the names of people that passed before her. Her name's now on that blanket. We walked behind her as I kept the music playing. 2 random songs came on that were gut-wrenchingly and beautiful, fitting, from Michael Bublé and Josh Groban. All the staff lined the hallways came their respects and followed the procession outside until Mom's body was placed in the hearse. Everyone was crying. The blanket was then folded up and handed to us military style. It was beautiful, sacred ending to a meaningful, beautiful life. If you're here today, you had a role in your extraordinary life. We all had a chance to witness a life well lived. One of meaning and selflessness, passion for absolutely everything in her world, both big and small. Fiercely loyal, always non-judgmental and loving, infectious optimism. The ability to see the good in everyone. She forever kept her childlike wonder and innocence. I miss her every day, but I have solace knowing she lived life on her terms right to the end, and that she loved and received love from many. Mom, true to herself, even in death, took time to comfort John and I. She wrote us a letter apologizing for having to put us through such pain when she died, as well as apologizing for inevitably torturing us to have to clean out her cluttered basement. And to forgive her for leaving such a mess, to know that most likely she chose to help someone in need instead. She wrote that she hoped to pull some strings and bake something for the party. She was such a comfort to so many when they lost loved ones. I received countless letters, how much her words ease their pain in times of grief. I'm hoping we can all use her words of comfort to soothe our own profound loss. She wrote, "Those we hold most dear never truly leave us. They live on in the kindnesses they showed, the comfort they shared, and the love they brought into our lives." She also wrote, "Grief never ends, but it changes. It's a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. So go forth and conjure your inner Elsa. The world would be a better place for it. Thank you all for being a part of Mom's beautiful story. Love you forever, Mama Bear."